If I am alive, why? Why? If there's a God or whatever, something, somewhere, why have I been abandoned by everyone and everything I've ever known, I've ever loved? Stranded. What is the lesson? What is the point? God, give me a sign or I have to give up. I can't do this anymore.
Well, here I am today, it's the 21st of July 2017. Last night I slept about 10 hours and I've woken up, I woke up heavy, like feeling really tired, but I've just tidied up the house for about an hour, so that's really good. I actually made the beds today. Yeah, I feel really tired still, though. And spacey, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I've come on here to talk about my health condition actually as a result of what happened at the tip site. I spoke briefly about the first memory that I have of smelling something that was overpowering that I'd never experienced before was walking into Farmer Jack's in Mirrabooka, and before I even got to the front door, the doors that open, the glass doors to the shopping centre, all I could smell was potty mix. And it was really strange because I'd shopped there before, I'd been to, other supermarkets that carried potting mix before. I'd used potting mix before, my mum had used potting mix before, and the smell was just an ordinary smell, but this time it was just so bad. It was like I had sniffed it, At the time, I didn't realise that was a symptom of multiple chemical sensitivity. So a symptom of MCS is heightened sense of smell. Now I've gone the opposite way, but I'll talk about that later. So I have hardly any sense of smell now. So back then it was heightened, which is typical of multiple chemical sensitivity. It's one of the main symptoms is a heightened sense of smell, and that's what gives you that fright and flight sensation where you smell something and you go, oh my God, that is toxic, I need to get away from it. Because with multiple chemical sensitivity, you actually develop a mechanism to keep you safe. Because you're poisoned, absolutely poisoned, your body provides you with this mechanism. It alerts you of toxicity, which is kind of cool in a way, but it's also frightening. When you experience it, it is frightening and devastating, and it ruins your life really, because you're too scared to go anywhere, you're too scared to do anything. Your body just tells you get out, get away, it's dangerous. And those mechanisms that happen in a dangerous situation happen to somebody with MCS in an ordinary situation to most people. So we smell perfume and go, oh my God, I cannot go there, and we leave. If we stay in that situation and we ignore our sense of smell and we ignore that, what happens is that we get secondary symptoms. So if we ignore the sense of smell and to get away, which our bodies really don't allow us to, we go into this mechanism that our body's been built to have. It's just natural. We get secondary symptoms, so that would be the headaches, dizziness, vertigo, stomach cramps, muscle aches and pains, cold and flu symptoms, or kidney, liver damage, etc. It goes on to damage your organs as the stages go further on. So, which is where I am now. I have a grace period because I have no sense of smell, however, it's doing damage. Which is why I don't go out very often. And when I do go out, I really, really appreciate the fact that I was able to go out. You know, it's really difficult to talk about this health condition because it's destroyed my life, and I've lost many years of life because of it. And people often say, oh, you know, you get what you get what you're given, suck it up. You know, I've been abused a lot because of this health condition, but it's not like a normal, you know, disability where you have something wrong with you and it's predictable. For example, if you have diabetes, you can be provided with insulin and you can manage your condition. Cancer, it's a bit different. You don't know if you're going to live or die, and it's a tragic condition to have. However, people survive that. There's something to help you with the condition. Sometimes you can be cured from that condition. People believe you about that condition, and it's probably a bad example, but you know what to expect, sort of, with that condition. If you have a disability where you've lost a limb, you rehabilitate yourself and you can get on with life. This condition is barbaric. It's like one day to the next is completely different. And because you become allergic to one thing, you become allergic to 2, 3, 4, 5, thus the word multiple chemical sensitivity, you become allergic to the 20th century. So that one potting mix that I became allergic to, which was my trigger, and gas, I smelt the gas in the house, if you remember. I thought there was a gas leak, and the potting mix are two things that are so imprinted in my mind as my early trigger. That is what poisoned me. So after that, I became allergic to perfume. I'm not talking all perfumes, probably 99.9% of them. Perfumes. And so anything with a perfume in it. So that's cleaners, perfumes itself, washing powders, deodorants, shampoos, anything that you can think of that has a scent I couldn't tolerate. Fibres, clothing, I had to wear cotton or organic hemp. Anything synthetic now that I wear just makes me itches. It just irritates my skin. I'm fortunate enough to wear this one gold necklace. That's it. That's all I've got. The gold jewellery, anything else, any heavy metal or anything. Petroleum products. I became allergic to petroleum products. So putting petrol in the car or driving past a petrol station at that time, I couldn't do it. I used to have to put my windows up. Now I can drive into a petrol station and put petrol in my car. However, I try and keep my nose upwind and try and not allow the fumes to get near me. But it does, it affects me. And just makes me ill after the fact. And the list goes on. So I became allergic to a lot of chemicals that I could sit here and list all day. You know, furniture, you know, plastics, and on and on and on. And I just slept. Up to 20 hours a day I was sleeping. I mean, I've done that here as well. I do it often. I go to bed and I wake up the next day, or I spend 2 days in bed. My body needs that time to get better, which is extremely difficult on Italy. Probably not so hard for Sheree and Corinne, because when they were younger, there was 2 of them, so they would just go off and play together. It's extremely difficult on Italy, but she does have her older sisters now that she can ring up and just say mum's not well, and she'll go off with them, and they'll help there. So that's what happened anyway as a result. I'm not going to go on anymore. Not only me, but the kids in the area, some kids in the area, and the adults developed the condition multiple chemical sensitivity. I have lots and lots and lots of information on it, but I'm just going to look up the definition to read out to you. I won't go to Wikipedia, you know. I'm just going to go to a website called multipleChemicalSensitivity.org, because obviously it's written by people that are aware of the condition. It says here, multiple chemical sensitivity, also referred to as MCS, is also known as chemical injury, chemical sensitivity, environmental illness, and multiple allergy. Multiple chemical sensitivity, in broad terms, it means an unusually severe sensitivity or allergy-like reaction to many different kinds of pollutants, including solvents, volatile organic compounds, perfumes, petrol, diesel, smoke, chemicals in general, and often encompasses problems with regards to pollen, house dust mites, pet fur, and dander. Multiple chemical sensitivity, unlike true allergies, where the underlying mechanism of the problems are relatively well understood and widely accepted, it's generally regarded as idiopathic, meaning that there is no known mechanism or causation and its processes are not fully understood, which is exactly why everybody says you're crazy. The problem here is made more difficult still due to the variable nature of multiple chemical sensitivity from one patient to the next. And this often makes treatment with conventional medicine and practices ineffective or inappropriate for most sufferers of MCS. The avoidance of pollutants and toxicants is the key, which is why we stay home a lot. When we go out, we appreciate that time that we get because we have to come home and sleep. I usually, every time I go out, I need a day at home to recoup. And when I say when I go out, I mean just to the shops, shopping, to my groceries, or if I want to go out and do something with Indolene, I need the next day to recoup. What can be said about defining MCS, and in order to help the patient decide whether they have truly MCS or another allergy-related illness, is that following deciding the criteria. Okay, and the criteria for that is the patient exhibits problems, often an allergy-like reaction to both large, often extremely low levels of irritants and triggers. Other individuals present at the time may be unable to detect anything at all or anything unusual or out of the ordinary. So that's what I say about the heightened sensitivity, the heightened smell, that you can actually smell something that nobody else would be able to smell. I used to joke about it and say that I could be a sniffer dog for fruit or drugs at border security because I could smell everything, you know. That's why I can smell pesticides. It's one of my allergies. So when they spray, 3/4 of a kilometre away, I know that they've sprayed up the street and not to go there. I smelt it the other day when I dropped Italy off at school. I don't know when they did it, whether it was during school holidays or whatever, but there's been a couple of days of rain, heavy rain, but I could still smell it. So I'm not sure when they did that. So the problem is ongoing. It's chronic and it's not a one-off event. Well, I've been like this since, for over 15 years. It's a long time. The same symptoms are reproducible with repeated exposure to the same triggers, which means you can't. Well, that is true in some sense. However, some days are worse than others. And the patient is affected by many different triggers, and the patient improves when triggers are absent. It's true. So I can be totally normal and have fun, but pretty much my brain's fried from the stress of this condition and the chemical exposure of everything. I find it difficult to learn. Yeah, you think so? That's okay. It's part of it. They call it brain fog. So this condition is actually part of it. So understanding this health condition is the biggest hurdle. The fact that, understanding what's happening to you. And I'm glad that I was able to understand what was happening to me, and really, when I first went to the doctors and they were just like, oh, you're just depressed, and I just knew that I wasn't depressed. I was a childcare worker. I was a really happy person. I was fit. I was well. I also worked in a pub, laughing so much every day when I went to work because it was fun kids and fun drunk people. I rarely had a problem. Any day. I was always happy. So I knew I wasn't depressed, but there was something wrong the moment I moved into that area, and around that area. Anyway, so that's MCS. That's what happened, and I still live. It's not like I bought that house, it got damaged, now move on with your life and forget about it. I haven't been able to do that because of this health condition that's hideous, chronic, ongoing, unknown, no cure, no care. And you feel like you're a prisoner because you have to spend most of your life inside, indoors. And so when I'm out and I'm just talking briefly to people, sometimes I don't even feel like speaking to people. People will sort of, wave or say hello or whatever, but I can't go near them because of what they've got on, or I feel like I can't string my words together because I'm being affected by the environment that's around me. A lot of the time I get a lot of throat constriction, a lot of hoarseness. It hurts to speak, especially when I'm out in public. And most people don't care. They just think I'm rude, or they haven't taken the time to know me or what's happening to me or know what's going on. And that makes you not want to go out either. You can only take so much of being called a freak, for so long. So, freak of nature. Might put that on the end of this video. Maybe some Britney.
I'm a freak.